So before you guys head right on over and to see the combine function here, I just want to point out a couple things. This is how I learned how to combine, was on a Massy 760. Actually, it was a Massy 860. We had two of them. And so I put a pile of hours in the Massy 860. This is a 760. This is combine my dad bought brand new. And so we kept this one around. The 860 we did get rid of. But I'm not going to go through the cab. I'm not going to do a big walk around. If you guys want to see that, scroll down to my videos. I think it was David versus Goliath or something like that from last year. I did that, so I'm not going to do it this year. I'll point out some stuff on the header that I didn't do last year. Now these old Massy headers, there were nothing to write home about. Okay, so you have your traditional bat reel. This is what we call a bat reel. Fingers, and a pickup reel, I guess it'd be called a pickup reel, has fingers. Like what we snip off on our Airflexes and John Deere Hydroflexes, and they all have pickup fingers. Well, back before pickup fingers was actually a thing, they just had a bat reel. So it would just hit the crop and bounce it in. Well, it actually worked not bad unless your crop was down. If your crop was like down, it was all lodged, you hated your life with a bat reel. Okay. The other thing I'll point out is an auger table. Yes, this is an auger table. This is not canvas. Back in the day, it was all auger. And the nice thing was there was no maintenance with these puppies. I'm not saying with this particular header, but I'm just talking in general with an auger table. You don't have little roller bearings and stuff like that that run your canvases, and you don't have all those sensors. There's actually no sensors on this header at all. So this header is just a very mechanical drive. Just comes right off the combine. Now I will point out, you notice there's no fingers in here, okay? You're like, well, Mike, what the heck is a finger? Well, I'll show you. These are fingers, okay? And you notice that the fingers are only in the center to propel the crop into the combine. But you'll notice there's no fingers going down the auger. So the John Deeres, I can't remember what year they came out with it, but it was quite a while ago. They actually come out with fingers that went down the auger. And so that way it would take this and grab that crop and wrap it underneath the auger, and then it would just move along with the flighting, you see? So that was a huge improvement to the auger table, because what would happen, as you're going to see in the video, this gets kind of rusty. It's been sitting outside. The crop doesn't, like this, I mean, the crop doesn't want to slide on this, you guys. It doesn't want to slide, okay? So the crop will come in and it will just kind of stop right here, and the flighting can't quite grab it. You know, where you have a finger, it will grab it and wrap it underneath, and then it will move it along with the flighting. So that was a huge improvement. But Massy was no longer a thing, I don't believe, with these headers when that improvement come out. And then after that, we moved to draper heads. Now, they still make auger heads. You could still get an auger head. I think the biggest one you can get is a 35, and this is a 30, okay? So the biggest you can get, I do believe, is a 35 and have fingers all the way down. And yes, you can get pickup reels now and all that fun stuff. But anyway, the old Massy was actually ahead of her time. It was a very large combine for its time. We ran a 1460 Case International rotary combine at the same time, same era, and we always joked around about that Case combine, because if you hit one kochia weed, if you went through one kochia, that combine was like, you know what I mean? Of course, they weren't very big, and we only had a 24-foot head on that particular one, but these ones with a 30, you just thought that you were a beast with this combine. There was nothing that you couldn't go through. So yeah, little stubby little auger, and this auger actually has the auger extension right there. Most of these old Masseys only came like with this 4-foot auger extension out, so it was even stubbier yet. I think it almost ended right near the back, and you could only use that for basically pickup heads. So if you wanted to have a straight cut head, well, you had to put the mighty extension in. Boy, you were the big dog. Boy, if you had an extension in, what is that, like 15 feet? Oh man, but you know what? They were great combines, and these were just conventionals. These aren't rotaries, just conventional, and it was all walkers. Okay, you're like, well, what the crap? What, Mike? What do you mean it's a walker? Well, let's take a peek under here. Okay, actually, we're gonna have to walk up top. Hold on. So we just walked across here, and we're gonna pop this thing up. Here we go. I'm gonna show you guys a few things here. So these are walkers. Yes, I'm gonna answer your questions here in 1 second. So when that grain goes through the conventional, which means it goes through one time, okay? That's how conventionals work. It goes through one time. A rotary, is longer. Maybe you have, well, for example, our ideals have 16 foot, right? But that's also, half of that's used for threshing and the other half of that's used for separating. Well, this is just for, oh, you can't see it. When I was a kid, I would crawl back there just for fun. But, and these things are really hard on the kneecaps because they're quite pointy. But anyway, it threshes at one time, and then these things actually walk the straw out. So every one goes up and down. They're not all in, they're all going like this. And it walks the straw all the way out. And it's separating at the same time. Any grain that comes out, it's going to drop down on that pan and go back down into the, so that way it can go up an auger and into your tank. And then it would drop the straw down into these spreaders right down here, and phew, out they go. Well, Mike, what the crap happened here? This is what happens if you plug your walkers and you don't catch it in time. Remember, there's no sensors on these things, you guys. You plug your walkers, bad things are going to happen, which means if you plug the straw storm, I guess, and stuff just kind of keeps happening, and yeah, you wreck stuff. That's life without sensors. But I think I'd actually go back to that. And you're like, well, Mike, isn't that a sensor? I guess, okay, we got 1 or 2 sensors. This, when it comes up like that, tells you that these are plugged. But apparently there's no sensor on those down there when those stop. Anyway, you guys get the idea. And you're like, well, Mike, I have another question. What's that? So you're saying that the industry is pretty much all rotaries now. The industry, for the most part, in combines is rotaries, okay? But you can still get conventional combines. Well, Mike, what kind of conventional combines can we get? Hold on. What kind of conventional combines can we get, Mike? Well, basically, a Lexion is like a hybrid, okay? So you got their front feed accelerator. I'm going to call it a front feed accelerator. They're going to call it, Mike, you can't say that. And it's going to thrash out a certain percentage of it, and then it's going to go into the actual big conventional cylinder, which is going to do the majority of it. And then it's going to go out, instead of walkers like these, it's going to have 2 rotors back there, and they're going to be separated in it. So they're just separated with rotors. That's how it works. Now our combines is just 2 really long rotors. It threshes it up at the front, and then it separates it with tines in the back. Okay, so that's kind of how it works. So Case is a rotary, John Deere's are rotaries, New Holland is rotaries, Lexion is basically a hybrid conventional with a rotary separation, in layman's terms, to be quite honest. But now back to this combine. When I was a kid, we would stand up here, because you know me, I like doing dangerous stuff. We would have this combine roaring full out, everything's engaged, those things are going in there like 100 mile an hour, like, and we would like throw pop cans in. You know, we would see what kind of destruction those things could do. And I'm talking like I was like 8 years old here or something, right? Like, it was just so much fun to see what kind of destruction those things would do. And yeah, we just had a lot of fun with kids. I'm surprised I've lived this long, to be quite honest. So yeah, I really am. So in saying that, I'm gonna let you guys go. You continue watching. You're gonna move right into the operation of this combine, and have yourself a good one. The horsepower, oh, hold on. So the horsepower is something like, I don't know, I can't remember, like 160-ish or so horsepower, powered by a Perkins engine, a 6-cylinder Perkins engine. And the hopper is maybe 180 bushel or something. And I don't know how fast that unload is, but it is not very fast. Like, we're talking probably like 2 bushel a second or something. Without looking up all the specs, I'm just telling you, just kind of winging it off the cuff. So, very small horsepower, very small tank compared to the combines today. But we're rocking with the Ideals, we're rocking about 650 horsepower and 6 bushel per second unload, and yeah, 485 bushel hopper. So everything has gotten very big. But you got to remember, like, this combine weighs all of like, what, 20-some thousand pounds? Where the Ideal's like closer to 50,000 pounds. But there's also a huge price difference too. But anyway, we're moving on. Continue watching. Have a good one. Enjoy the video. There she is. You always know where the old Massy is, because it's got the old Perkins engine. It just smokes up like a smokes like a chimney. No depth. Freaking awesome. So this was Dad's first new combine that he bought, so it's an old gem that we typically keep around the farm. And by the way, this is how I learned how to combine, except it was on an actual 860, not a 760. But I put a lot of hours on one of these units. Now the header sits outside. The combine typically doesn't, except for last year, but so it's pretty rusty and doesn't want to feed too good. Let it squeak or two. Hop on for a ride. I kind of hope he doesn't stop fast. We're going for a ride. Uh-oh. I think his chain came off. Sorry about that. He plugged his auger there. Took a little too much green on an old rusty header. Whoops. Ha! I didn't know I could do that. That's awesome. Do it again. Ah! Just the camera's over here. I'm trying to do things with my phone. Not bad. Check this thing out. duct tape hubcap. It's actually a pretty good durum crop. So this durum is actually a nice crop. Making the old Massy work. It's an awesome old combine.